All right, we are now talking about the playoff series between the New York Rangers, I just said Islanders, New York Rangers and the Washington Capitals. So let's jump right into it. Let's get some of these logos out of the way and jump right into it. So, again, we're talking about the Rangers, President's Trophy winning Rangers versus the second wild card, just got into the playoffs at the last day, tied in points with the Detroit Red Wings. However, the Washington Capitals had more regulation wins, and also end up winning their last game against Philadelphia 2-1, where Philadelphia pulled the goalie with 3 minutes left while being tied 1-1 because they needed to beat Washington in regulation. So let's go on to why the New York Rangers and why I think they're going to do so well. So Washington Rangers. Oh my goodness. The New York Rangers. Call me on my bullshit. Talk to me in the comments. Say how much of an idiot I am. It helps the algorithm, by the way. It doesn't matter what you comment. Put a poop emoji. That's my favorite right now. That one? No. The chicken's my favorite. The poop one is also a common one that people do. So, moving on. So, they have Panarin, who's doing a phenomenal job. 49 goals, 120 points. Definitely the MVP of the team. Seeing that Shesterkin has been one of the MVPs before, but Panarin being 43 points above the next guy, playing all 82 games. The next goal or next points or 25 goals. Kreider at 39, so it's a good amount of production on the lines. And that's one of the things I want to emphasize with these lines is that you're seeing really good production in these top four forwards, as well as Adam Fox putting up 73 points in 72 games, a point per game defenseman. You can't ask much more of a defenseman like Adam Fox, who's also a minute eater, 23 and a half minutes per game. That's phenomenal. That's exactly what you want to see. And Kreider is also third in points with only 1847. So I think he's playing on the second power play unit, maybe. I don't, because he's not. That's not as much time as you think it would be. So, moving on though. So one of the things I want to emphasize with them is that you're getting great production out of this line. And going over like the lines real quick, you can see. Go to the top line right now. You have Kreider, Zibanejad, and Jack Roslovic, who actually has been a pretty good acquisition for them, putting up 8 points in 19 games. And the fact that you can just plug him in right there, he's a little more defensively responsible, which allows Kreider and Zibanejad to do their thing on that top line. Also, the nice thing is with the second line, you're actually able to move Alexis Lafreniere. He was playing on the left wing, but he is naturally a center. Putting up on the right side, allowed him to get that production and get his numbers up. And they are up, by the way, a career high for him. Putting at 57 points in 82 games. And with 28 goals, I mean, everyone was talking about this kid being a bust. I never thought it was a bust, but his production was slow, being that he was drafted in 2020 and had a high ceiling, or higher ceiling. He's not a Connor Bedard, but he definitely had drafted first overall. You're expected to produce. I think he's third in production with Tim Stützle and Lucas Raymond being the higher production players, being that, and also that Lafreniere was drafted first, Stützle was third, and Raymond was fourth. So again, we want to see more production out of him, and we're starting to, and it's good to see him, especially getting up in that higher up in the lineup. Then you have Vinny Trocheck and again Panarin playing phenomenal on that second line. So I think that's one of the things that I see about Panarin playing on the second line is that when they're top line out of Kreider, Zibanejad, and Roslovic are playing out there, you're allowing the opposite team's shutdown line or higher defensive play against those players, which allows Panarin to play against lesser competition and be able to put up higher amount of points. And you don't really care where your production from as long as you're getting production. And so getting Panarin those points, and I mean honestly, he's just bringing up Trocheck and Lafreniere as well, which I think they're loving, of course. So moving on, we got and then the bottom is looking okay. Capo Caco again not producing like we'd like him to for a second overall pick. Trading for Alex Wenberg is great. Will Coyle, I don't know much about him. Let's see, because Cheeto did go out on an injury, so it does not look like he will be back. Where is this Coyle guy? Where you at, buddy? Well, there's Wenberg, 5 points in 19 games right here. There you are. 21 points in 81 games. Yeah, you're not getting a ton of production out of him. I think he was more of a second line guy who got pumped to the first line. You get your shutdown line with Jimmy VC, Barclay Goodrow, and Matt Rempe. And Matt Rempe will absolutely be playing, maybe not all 7. If they play go 7, I think they'll play a couple of games. But you want to keep this kid fresh. You want to use him. He's a dynamite. You want to use him to just kind of like, maybe if they're starting to go down, you throw him in there in the roster. But I think he'll play about half of the series. But again, if you're going against someone like Boston, you're going to want Matt Rempe out there. So look at dynamicism. And of course, you have Adam Fox again producing at a point per game. Ryan Lindgren, whose brother is playing as the starting goalie for the Washington Capitals. And they had a quick, hey, I'll see you in the playoffs. I'll talk to you after the playoffs text message. It was hilarious. It was a screenshot that was sent out on Twitter as well. So it was very funny. Brandon Schneider, and Keandre Miller, I mean, phenomenal. And you have Eric Gustafsson, an amazing offensive defenseman with Jacob Trouba, who's the tough and rumble. I mean, that's a guy that you definitely don't want to be squaring up against. So you have Matt Rempe, and you have Keandre Miller as well as, Keandre Miller is not much of a fighter, but you have Trouba, who absolutely deck you out. And so you have a phenomenal, again, this is what you would expect out of our President's Trophy, just being able to play all 4 lines with an amazing 3D pair. And then you look at the goaltending as well, who Shesterkin had a little bit of a slow start at the start of the year, has bounced back with a 9.13, this is amazing. Penalty in minutes, it's hilarious, by the way. That's hilarious, by the way. I don't check penalty minutes for goalies. I don't check penalty minutes for goalies very often, but that's very funny. Louis Domingue, third. Look at getting that 1 goal against with 1 win. I love that. Jonathan Quick is playing amazing, by the way. He's a great backup, a great veteran goaltender who also signed a 1-year extension with the Rangers for next year as well. Put up a 911 save percentage. Never forget New York. And so we had this great save percentage, great similar goals against as well, about a little over 2.5 goals against. So you're getting good production out of your goaltenders. You're getting great production out of your forwards. You're getting great production out of your defense, like Adam Fox. So I think this is a great dynamic team. There's no wonder that they won the President's Trophy. My buddy Dan actually did put them and says he has them winning the Stanley Cup. I will, spoiler alert, do not have them going as far as he does, but I do have a lot of, I think the Rangers can do well. So you'll have to see the rest of the videos to follow me along. Hit like and subscribe to follow along and see where I'm going with the Rangers. But before we go off on the Rangers and end this video, we want to talk about the Washington Capitals, who, again, as I emphasized in the start of the video, was a second wild card, and we're just be able to sneak in there. And again, their production is a lot lower than you'd expect for a team like this, who actually, by the way, who also sold on Joel Edmondson at the end of the season. And so I think they sold someone else too. I just can't think of who it is. But somehow still make the playoffs. Okay, and this is the first time the Washington Capital of Alex Ovechkin, since his start as a rookie on the team, did not lead the team in points. That is Dylan Strome with 67 points, 27 goals, and Alex Ovechkin finishing with 65 points and 31 goals. Somehow this guy gets 30 goals in he has the league lead for 18 consecutive 30-goal seasons. The previous record was 17, and Alex Ovechkin somehow gets it with that little extra sweetener, that 31st goal to finish it off. But again, the production comparison is wildly different when it comes to the Washington Capitals. You can see you have a 67 points as their top scorer, and if you go to the New York Rangers, like we discussed previously, their top 5 are all over 67, right? You have 120, 77, 75, 73, 72, and Adam Fox having 72 as a defenseman, taking out more than the Dylan Strome. Of course, you're not getting the same amount of goals, but again, this is crazy the amount of points that you have. So it's really, and you just kind of can see that they're relying. I like to look on time on ice, by the way. Again, going back over here, you can see time on ice is a little higher. What you'd like to see is under 20 minutes for your main guys. But having these guys, your top 5 guys, have such high in the 21.5 minutes, and Adam Fox playing a significant amount of power play as well as penalty kill time, you kind of those higher times leave more room for injury. But that's okay. Like, you're not, like, if you can utilize them properly, they can work out well. So, but you're looking at, again, going to time on ice with the guys like these. You can see how heavily that the Washington Capitals rely on John Carlson in their defensive zones, as well as Rasmus Sandin, who is taking up that second defenseman spot, who has played 23 points in 68 games. We'd like to see him he will likely he is their second best defenseman. He'll be taking on a huge role with them. And going over the lines real quick, again, you're seeing not as much production as you like to see, but you are seeing some guys break out with the Washington Capitals. If we're going to where is he? Well, they traded Kuznetsov, right? So he's look at that. Kuznetsov is the 2, 4, 5, 6 best, highest scoring or time on ice. Where's Kuznetsov fall on points? Oh, he's way down there. Never mind. I was like, oh man, that would be unfortunate. But you can see you're seeing guys like where are they? McMichael is starting to step up, 33. You can see he's playing on their first line with Alex Ovechkin, so definitely stepping into that Kuznetsov role, which is a huge hole to fill, by the way. It's huge. You have TJ Oshie as well, who's getting older, but we'll see how that ends up happening with him. Protest is stepping up on that second line. LaPierre as well. Like, they signed Sonny Milano, got him a good deal. They extended Tom Wilson, brought in Max Pacioretty for a year, who decided to stay with the team. And the crazy thing is that there was a trade in place for Max Pacioretty to go to the New York Rangers. But he said, no, I'm exercising my no trade clause. I want to stay in Washington. I think we have a chance. And look at them barely making the playoffs. And he bet his money on his team, and they are in it. Whether they'll go far is another story, but we will see. Nick Dowd was also talked about being traded with the term that he had on his deal, but he ended up not being traded. But you're seeing guys step up as well. Fedivare as well. If you look at their stats for Fedivare, I just saw him. He was doing pretty good. Fedivare, 16 points in 66 games as a defenseman, putting up a good amount of time, 19 and a half minutes. Again, young gentleman. I think let's see how young he is in here. I think he's one of those rookies that they're bringing in, and they're doing a retool properly, in my opinion. Let's see, 24 years old. So yes, that young, because we saw the Washington Capitals sell last year. They sold this year as well. And we're seeing them do a retool, bringing in some younger guys, unlike the Pittsburgh Penguins, who were just now officially selling off on Jake Gensel and bringing in some of those B-level prospects from the Carolina Hurricanes. We're seeing a turnover of this team because the Capitals still want to be competitive, clearly going for the playoffs, as well as getting Ovechkin to that Wayne Gretzky goal total. So, but you're seeing a huge effort, a huge push by these guys. Sonny Milano putting up 23 points in 49 games, half a point per game player, and having that phenomenal flip over with Trevor Zegras. So, going to their defensive line, you have John Carlson, Fedivare. Those are pretty good. And you have the two fill-in guys, Iroru and Dylan McElrath, who has been bounced around in the AHL, mostly an AHL player. But hey, he's breaking into the lineup. But again, the bigger MVP of this team that has kept them into the playoffs, I know because I watched them beat the Detroit Red Wings at the end, is Charlie Lilligren, who was supposed to be the backup goalie in this case, with Kemper not doing as well. Kemper having a 3.3 goals against and a .89 save percentage, just not having the best year in this case. Looking similar to their third goalie, but Charlie Lilligren with 50 games played, 25 wins, .267 goals against average, similar to Shesterkin and Jonathan Quick, and a .911 save percentage, never forget. And he's playing so well, playing out of his mind, and the fact that he's playing against his brother is going to make him all the more competitive. And so I think the only thing that can keep Washington in this is their young guys stepping up, and it's just going to be a great experience for them. So they can use this as a platform to bounce off for next year. But I do not see the Washington Capitals beating the New York Rangers. In fact, I also think that, in my personal opinion, Washington Capitals are out in 4 just because you're going against a President's Trophy to a team that would just made the playoffs in their last game, barely, by the way, because they're competing with another team. So I think Charlie Lindgren is going to have a lot on his plate to be able to play against his brother. But again, we will see. I'm excited to see what the series looks like. Let me know what your thoughts are on what you think it is. Again, I have Rangers in 4, maybe 5, but I have them on my bracket as 4. And if you want to check out my bracket, it'll be at the end of this video. And hit like, subscribe. Again, comment on an emoji. It helps out small creators like me. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one. And I'll be doing all the videos throughout I'll do previews of each series for the playoffs for each team. I've already done a couple, so check out those videos. And catch you in the next one. Love you.